All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of The Cabin. First rule of order, as always, we just do this.
Welcome back. Wow, aggressive. We've got two special guests with us today. Mavrik is a special guest. So Sam is special.
Okay, all right, guys, they get it.
Welcome back to another episode of The Cabin.
So Sobi is with his parents and with some of his buddies back home. He's opening day of gun season. They ended up shooting a couple deer.
Pretty
Sobi
ridiculous.
is keeping the unlucky streak up. I don't know if you guys have seen this or if we've posted it yet, but Sobi missed a really big deer. How big was that deer, Dice?
Giant.
Biggest one in Wisconsin.
That, yeah. I don't know. I was going to say it makes me sick to my stomach, but I don't even know that I have the right to say that. But
yeah, exactly.
it was
So who
huge.
are you? People are probably like, who is this new guy? What are you doing here? What's your full name?
My name's Sam Dice. I've been around Perik's channel quite a bit. John's a little bit. We grew up together, going to high school together, and kind of remained friends. Hunting, fishing, deer camp every fall. So
Yeah, you know, Dice, a question that's been burning in my mind, and that's been burning in your pocket, I guess. There it is.
there it is.
Like
It's
it.
out.
All right, so a question that's been burning in my mind, Dice, is what is the first memory that you have of meeting Alex Perik?
So Sam is my high
I can
school.
tell this story. This is a really good story that probably no one on YouTube has heard, but it's really the whole story.
What is this about?
Well, just
Was this the tournament?
oh no, I was thinking of a different story.
That's the first
yeah,
time
this
we
is
met was the
the
tournament.
tournament. Yeah. So
But me and Dice did go to high school together, like he said, and me, John, and Dice all went to the same high school. We all grew up together. They were a year older than me, so when I was a freshman, they were a sophomore. I don't think I met you, though, till, like, sophomore year, probably.
no, it was your freshman year.
Oh, my freshman year, okay.
Because it was my sophomore year.
Gotcha.
John, we went to Jim O'Neill's tournament.
yeah.
Jim O'Neill's tournament. Yeah.
All right,
So we met through the beautiful sport of fishing, but I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of background. Now let's let Sam talk. So tell the story of how we met.
Oh
Or
yeah,
the story
yeah.
you were talking about.
Well, I'll tell this story. Yeah, this is a little different story. It's not exactly about how we met, but it has to do with Morgan. Your fans love Morgan, so.
Good old Morgan.
So I knew Perik kind of just from fishing, and we'd hang around a little bit. But we weren't that good of friends early on in high school. And there's this girl now. So Perik must have been sophomore. I was a junior at this time.
Yeah, this is my sophomore.
And Morgan was a freshman. And I would see this girl walking around the halls, and I
No,
lived
this was junior year.
my junior year, your sophomore year.
No, your senior year.
No, it wasn't.
Because senior year was the year I sat with you guys at lunch.
I know, but this goes back even.
Oh, this is earlier.
This is like
I'm ruining
when
this
I
story for
you
you.
guys are just confusing me right now.
So Morgan was a freshman. I had just seen this girl walking through the high school, and I legit it must have been that whole year, or for a long period of time, thought it was your sister because you guys look so much alike. Like I legit thought it was his sister, and then it got in a year later, and we were at a football game or something, joking around, and like we would joke around that Morgan was Perik's sister, and I think Jack Napoleon was like out to dinner with his friends or something, walked up to her and gave her your number.
Yeah, that's
just
how
like as a joke, and that's how it all started. Just from a complete joke, and probably putting Morgan in a really awkward situation, but I think she took it in a good way.
And putting me in an awkward situation.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter as
I'm
much.
just an awkward person, I guess. Today, Dice was FaceTiming his girlfriend, and some other girl was on the FaceTime, and he pointed the camera at me and was like, "Hey, what's up?" And Dice just goes, "Why are you so awkward? Like, how was that awkward? Can you explain to me this?"
It was just awkward because then everyone was just sitting there all quiet.
It was literally, I didn't even have a second to finish what I was saying. I was like, "Hey, what's up?" And then you go, "Stop being awkward." Like, everything I do to you is awkward.
Yeah, it's just to bust your balls and make it actually awkward.
Sometimes
so.
Perik in social settings is sometimes a little
I'm an
weird,
awkward person.
Aren't we all though?
Yeah, we are.
I feel like
though.
the definition of awkward is just, it's changing. It's like different than what it used to be.
Yeah.
Like back in the day, like nobody used to
right.
use the word awkward unless you like couldn't socialize.
Well, yeah, and I think that social settings are becoming more awkward probably because everyone's all on their phones and like behind a screen and not face to face.
Boys, we're really jumping off topic here. We got
What is wrong? What is wrong with you, Mav?
we got to jump back on the train. I wanted to know how you guys met, and then I also really wanted to know how you guys both got into hunting because you guys got into hunting like pretty similar times, right?
Well, sort of. He was into it longer than I was.
My buddy up here, Nick, he's an awesome dude. Shout out to Nick. He's the guy who lives on our land. You've seen him in a couple of my videos. He lives right next to the land. He's a school teacher or substitute teacher here in Wisconsin. And he's kind of the guy who introduced me to hunting. I went hunting with him. I didn't shoot anything. I would just watch him. I watched him shoot opening day 5 years ago, and then I watched him bow hunt a little bit. And then Sam and I I was like, one day I was like, how do we even get to this?
Well, I always wanted to go hunting, and we had talked about it, and you're like, yeah, we can go up to my cabin, gun opener. We'll sit out in a couple stands.
Oh my gosh, choked on coffee, dying on cappuccinos.
I made myself. It's Sunday morning, so I'm getting a little jacked up. I keep interrupting you, and that wasn't my fault, but I put 3 espresso shots and 1 cup of coffee in here.
And it's already gone.
Oh my gosh.
All right.
That's a quick trip to the toilet right there.
This is going to be a quick podcast.
Continue, though.
So, yeah, we wanted to come up I always wanted to hunt. I fished. It was something that I kind of found interesting and wanted to learn more. And so we came up. You hadn't gun hunted in a couple of years since then.
Yeah, I kind of started and then kind of lost it.
Yeah.
And then you kind of brought it back.
And so we went gun hunting. Just the 2 of us came up here. I think Nick sat with his daughter a little bit, but we kind of came up here, kind of just did some stuff ourselves, set up some blinds. You knew the safety and kind of the basics of hunting. So we kind of got by that. We were able to set up and figure out where the deer are coming from and got a few does with rifles. You can rifle hunt here in Wisconsin, and that was awesome. It was a wild experience, and from there it kind of lit a fire under us. We got addicted, and I think the next week, that was Thanksgiving. Yeah. We bought bows, I think, that Sunday after Thanksgiving. So within 8 days.
On Black Friday was when
because gun hunting was over. We were so addicted we wanted to kill a buck. So we bought bows that Sunday and then hunted kind of that whole late season, which is most people really don't hunt then at all. You kind of got to hunt differently. You're hunting food sources and whatnot. And so I think you were able to put down a doe.
Oh, yeah. I killed my first doe with a bow that season, which I actually have killed. I've never killed a deer on camera.
Yeah.
Because that was before I was filming. That was 3 or 4 years ago now. But it kind of we did it ourselves. And one thing that I kind of took away from that, what you just said, was I wonder what the percentage of people who get into hunting
stick with it.
No, not even that, but get introduced from their parents.
Right, dude, I think it's a lot.
I feel like it's really hard to get into hunting unless somebody shows you exactly how to do it. Like fishing, you can go and pick up a rod, you can go to a pond. We kind of talked about this with the hunting public, but it's just me and you kind of somehow got together, and now I feel like we become better friends through hunting just because it's both some of our addictions.
And we're learning together. And that's what that's something that's so different about hunting is because honestly, half the stuff you hear is probably bull crap.
Yeah.
And so you don't really need someone to put out a script for you because you kind of got to take everything you hear with a grain of salt and figure it out yourself, and kind of just being out there and learning from each situation with the deer is so different because every deer has a different personality, the way that how comfortable they are in that moment, and they'll react differently. So
yeah, so for those of you that don't know, I mean, touching back on what Alex said earlier, I grew up as an only child. My parents didn't hunt. My dad did a little bit in his early 20s, and I think I've learned a lot through you guys, just in the past even month of
and we don't really know much.
And
they don't know much, but honestly, hunting with them and then hunting with the hunting public, just getting to go on sits and learn from people that know what they're doing is it's pretty cool. It's actually inspired me to get a bow. Hopefully,
yeah. What's coming in the mail tomorrow?
Dude, I got a bow coming in the mail in a couple days. I'm gonna start practicing, get that thing pretty dialed.
He thinks that he's gonna get this bow in the mail. He's gonna be dead on. He's gonna hunt that afternoon.
No, dude.
He's ready just to kill.
I'm ready to. I'm just excited to just shoot some arrows at targets and field tips.
A little bit differently than Sobi. So you've learned how Sobi kind of does his deal.
So it's good that the funny thing about Sobi's deer is that that's the exact thing that I was afraid of using that old bow. If you guys see the later or the videos earlier this season, just a couple weeks ago, I was shooting with that same bow, and I was in the truck in Door County. I'm like, dude, I can't shoot with this bow. I don't trust it. I'm shooting targets at 20 yards and I can't even hit a good group. And I'd shoot with other people's bow and I'd hit decent groups. So I was using other people's bows all weekend, didn't trust this thing, and I was scared. I was scared that a 10-point or a big buck was going to come out and I was going to mess up on it just like that. And then it happened to Sobi with the duster. So for me, that was the ultimate reason right there. I'm this is why I need my own bow, why I need to get dialed with my own things, because you'll never know other people's equipment as well as you'll know your own.
Yeah. And the thing on that note is it's not also about like the greatest and the most expensive bow, but it's about getting the right draw length. Like Sobi's bow is not your right draw length. You need to get the thing about archery hunting that's different than gun hunting is like anybody can use a gun and be spot on. Yeah. But you need the right draw length. You need your arrows to be cut exactly right. You need the right poundage.
Forming good habits.
If you can pull back a 65-pound bow, some people can. If you can only pull a 55-pound bow back, that's fine. As long as you're accurate and as long as you know you can kill the deer with that. But I know this is hunting season. I know we've been talking a lot about hunting, but I really kind of want to change the subject now. What do you think?
What are you thinking?
I don't know. What are you thinking? What are all your topics about hunting?
Well, I have a lot of topics about hunting because that's what's been going on in our lives.
We could talk about some like ice fishing even.
Oh, ice fishing. We should talk about ice fishing as well.
That's coming up.
But one thing I also want to quickly mention here is the people that reviewed our podcast on Apple Podcasts.
Oh, yeah.
We had a bunch of reviews on Apple Podcasts.
Really?
Yeah. And I want to say thank you guys so much for reviewing that. I want to give the people shout-outs because I think that is absolutely incredible that people are already watching our stuff on Apple.
I saw a comment on there that was somebody completely random.
Really?
Yeah, they were just looking for an outdoor podcast, and they thought we were funny. I don't think we're that funny, but I appreciate you.
Okay.
Awkward is probably
Get
the right
this.
word.
Shut up. We have 39 reviews. I'm going to read a couple or just say Ketty Socks. Oh, try to find a humorous podcast that talks about everything outdoors. Found everything I wanted right here.
Yeah.
Gave me a 5-star.
That's the one that I saw.
5 stars.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Let's see. Can I see all these reviews? How do you see these? If you guys review our podcast on Apple, we might shout you out. So please review it. And we're on Apple Podcasts, we're on Spotify, as well as SoundCloud. So all those will be below. And
the other thing is that I know everybody has a question that's burning in their mind. Me telling my love life story in Canada. That is going to be an Apple Podcast and Spotify exclusive. We're not going to release that one on YouTube, so you guys better make sure you subscribe. That's going to be coming up in the next week or so.
Yeah, so we're waiting till Sobi gets back because we want me, Sobi, and Mav to talk about it. And it might be a couple podcasts, but I know the first one will be juicy. That Minnesota Boys TV, Mav is a god.
Hey, thank you so much.
Johnny N. Navis, Googan lover, thanks, man. Mikey Keys, Mav is the feeds. I guess all this is about you, Mav.
That's feds. He said the feds. I don't know why you think I'm the feds, but I appreciate it.
But thank you guys so much.
Not a cop.
Not a cop.
Thank you guys so much for reviewing on Apple. And let's talk about ice fishing. So me and you kind of got into ice fishing, I feel like, together as well.
Yeah. That was another thing we kind of had done a little bit in the past, but...
What was your guys' first, what did you do first? Did you ice fish around Chicago?
Ponds.
Yeah.
Ice fish ponds, which is
ponds with like an inch of ice.
And how long ago was this?
Sketchy, push it.
this
This was, again, high school.
High school.
We both... I mean, you had a Vex that you like somehow got to steal.
Yeah, I bought a Vex.
I bought like a Vex off eBay, and that's just a game changer. Like you're just growing up ice fishing tip ups and
For those that don't know what Vex are,
Once you
it's a
get
fish finder for ice fishing.
Yeah, I don't. Vexlar as a company is kind of a little outdated. I'm not really like their stuff is so easy to use and so cool, but I don't know. I could definitely see a new and upcoming company really destroying the ice market when it comes to fish finders. Garmin has a really good.
yeah. No, I
Vexlar.
call
When we say Vexlar, we're just using.
We're just
fish
talking
finders.
about fish finders.
Yeah.
That's just a brand. There's Florances, there's Hummingbirds, there's all sorts of brands that you
fish
can buy.
finder.
But a fish finder, a flasher type unit or an underwater camera. There's so many different things. I don't want to bore you guys with all these ice fishing terms, but that is really, when you go from just sitting over a hole and bouncing a jig with not knowing what's going on to actually seeing what's going on under the water and being able to take ice fishing to like the next level and really get you involved. That's kind of what did it for us because I think we would have sat there just with an ice fishing rod and waited and not had a fish finder. I think we would have got addicted as we are now.
Oh yeah, and that's what I tell like when I go out like ice fishing and it's like 0 degrees and people are like, why do you do that? Like there's no way that can be fun. And just like I try to explain it like almost like a video game because I feel like that's probably the best way to do it is it's like a real life video game.
Yeah, I mean if you're an ice fisherman right now and you don't have some sort of ice fish finder, you need to get one. You can get them for super cheap. Like if you go on Craigslist or on like Facebook Marketplace, you can get like you said like a Vexlar or old Markham for less than $200.
Yeah, exactly. That's a cheap way to find them. So what we do here is we fish, we ice fish, we hunt. We're just always outside. But since the thing that seems that everybody loved is talking about Mav's love life and love life in general, I think we need to talk quickly about Sam Dice, a couple stories about Sam Dice, his love life, and kind of where one of the first times we met, because you decided not to mention the first time we met, and that was Jim O'Neill's tournament. And the first time we officially met was when you blew me off. Or no.
No, that was like Jim O'Neill's tournament the next year.
Oh, the next year. Okay, so this is a tournament when we were in high school, which is a great idea, and I think I want to try and do this. I think John is trying to do this as well. Like all of us do, like kind of short tournaments. John used to do short tournaments all the time, where a bunch of us got together, we put some money down, and we competed against each other. And there was this guy Jim O'Neill, goofy guy. Circuit was a great idea, just never kind of had an end goal. Moral of the story is, I didn't have we fished one because I didn't have a partner together.
Yep.
We ended up doing decent or something.
Second place.
And then there was a championship. And I'm all pumped up, and Dice is like, he texted me that night saying, "Hey man, I can't go." Why couldn't you go, Dice? What was your excuse?
I was having a little fun.
A little fun.
What kind of fun,
what
Dice?
What were you doing?
I went to a party, I think.
Party, really?
Yeah. I think you might have stopped by even.
I did not go to Slow Pezz's that day.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't at Slow Pezz's, but I think
it wasn't at Slow Pezz's.
Yeah, I think it was at Kaylee's.
Oh, was that? Was that Kaylee's?
So you don't even know your facts.
It's at
You can't be
Kaylee's.
bringing this stuff up.
It was at Kaylee's. Okay, so who is Kaylee Joyce? And she wanted a shout out.
Yeah,
so quick shout out to Kaylee Joyce.
Is my girlfriend, so we'll give her a shout out.
So how long have you been dating Kaylee?
It's kind of same deal as you, on and off for like 4 or 5 years.
Same deal as me,
It's
on
been
and off.
over a year now.
Would you call her your high
Steady.
school sweetheart?
I guess that would be the correct term. Yeah,
Some people might say you're in love.
some might have.
So Kaylee was in third grade as well. She wanted to shout out on this podcast. She actually watched or listened to the first one. So thanks for being a listener to our podcast. But is there anything else you want to talk about as far as your love life goes? How does she accept you like taking the weekends off to go hunting? I know she wants you back right now. Like, how is it dealing with a girlfriend? You don't do these stuff like aren't on trips every weekend, but you come on a lot of trips. Does she get annoyed with that, or how does
when
that?
I do, she gets annoyed with you. I think
With me.
because you
That's not hard to
change.
picture.
I try and plan these trips. I don't. It's hard when you have a regular job or whatever, and you try to squeeze like a good hunting trip or a good fishing trip into a couple weekends, or you always try to catch that bite. And Peric is just, he's got a business to run, so he's always changing his plans, and like every weekend's changing. And so she's like, why do you always listen to what Peric's plans are? So that's tough. But
That's tough.
But-
Mav, how do you feel about the scheduling that's done? This morning actually I did a full November schedule for you, Mav.
yeah,
So
how's
then-
it? Mav was even saying the other day, he's like, I wish Peric could just do a schedule, and I'm like, that would never.
So
work.
with what we do,
that would never work.
with what we do, like a schedule is so hard to do. But it's tough. I mean, it's like, oh, okay, we're gonna do something over New Year's Eve. Oh, just kidding, I'm going on this trip New Year's Eve. Oh, you can do this. Oh, you're like 2 weeks ago, Peric's like, oh, you're gonna have like the week off for Thanksgiving, which is awesome. Hell yeah, I get to go see my family. But it's like, I don't know.
Which you do have. I sent you the schedule this morning, and that Monday I'm going to. I get to go to BC,
Dude.
with the boys over at the Googan squad, and you get to hang out with your family for a full 6 days.
My mom, I know she's watching this right now, and she says thank you. So shout out to Cheryl Joos. I love you, Mom.
And on a big side note, if Mav really wanted to leave and take the time off, he would. But he loves to work, and he
I
loves
do.
to strive for what we're doing here at AP Bass. And
I
so,
do.
huge shout out to him for sticking with me, unlike Sobi, who just left to hang out with his
Cheers,
friends this
cheers,
weekend.
Sobi.
I feel like every time I come, Sobi's just out of here.
Dude, honestly, that's crazy. Sobi works the hardest out of anybody here, and he works 7 days a week all the time. But for the past 3 weekends when Dice has been here, he's either been sick, he left for something, or he was hanging out with Steph or
Yeah.
something. So
Yeah.
he just doesn't
But
like
no,
it.
No, Sobi
is a grinder.
Sobi had a well-deserved time off though. I mean, he was just grind mode for 3 months. Glad he got to go hang out with his fam and
Grind
see his
mode
dad
for-
catch a deer, or not catch a deer, kill
Grind
a deer.
mode.
Okay, you sound like my girlfriend.
Yeah.
What?
No, she corrects herself.
Yeah.
For some reason, you realize that every girl likes to call it catching deer.
Yeah, catching deer. Yeah, I agree with that. Morgan says that too. Catching deer.
Yeah.
I think my dad says that.
That was me. That was me slipping up, boys.
Catching deer. But no, this was what do we have here?
I want to talk about something.
Oh,
we got to talk about something.
Okay,
we got
let's
to talk
hear it.
about something. Will you let me bring this topic up? So as we know, Dice and I went on a little solo mission up here
This is a
the
good,
last
this
couple
is a good
weekends.
topic to bring up.
My buddy Justin, who I've been childhood friends with for a while, decided to come up, and he ended up getting a deer. Dice, what was your experience that weekend? What are some highlights you had of that weekend? Did you think it went well?
Can I add one thing before you get into this? Because I want you to know, before this weekend, guys, Mav and Dice didn't really know each other.
No, like we like knew each other. We hung out around Perry. Yeah.
Or not hunted. I mean, we fish early in the summer.
Yeah, at Mille Lacs.
Yeah.
And that was kind of it.
That was kind of
I guess that really was it.
And I was gone. I was actually seeing Morgan that weekend. So I was taking a weekend off. So
Perrick basically handed me a camera and said, all right, buddy, I'm leaving. Go up to the cabin with Dice, and you're going to film some vlogs this weekend. I've never been hunting before. Don't really know Dice. We're on a road trip, and Dice and I actually became pretty good friends that weekend.
Yeah, we did. Mav and I get along well. But this kid is the loudest kid in the world in the tree stand. He can't sit still. So there's a couple times I wish I had like literally like one of those like sticks that I could just swing around and slap you to just shut you up. Maverick's been my cameraman the past couple weeks, and we're a good team up in the stand. We've had some cool encounters.
Yeah, dude.
But that weekend with Justin was a great weekend. That was our kind of second hunt early season. We got hit with a really big cold front that weekend. It seemed like
that was the first frost.
It was the first frost. Mm-hmm. Every big buck was kind of on their feet. And the corn was up then. The deer, I think, were doing different things than they are now, which I mean makes sense. They're kind of in a different phase. But we got to look at some good deer. But just nothing super close. Justin had that opportunity at that doe.
Yep.
Was able to take a shot. Unfortunately, as I'm sure you guys could kind of tell from the footage, it was a spine shot.
Yep.
And that was kind of we would have loved to kind of show that better and kind of the realness of it, but it was a weird combination. Justin felt really bad, and it was kind of like the moment, like, oh crap, what I do? He wants to put another arrow in it, and Mav, just like not being experienced as hunting and being in the stand, he really didn't know what to do with the camera and how to handle that situation. So Justin was able to put another arrow into it, and I know these guys wish that could have been shown a little better.
No, 100%.
Some people were just saying that you guys faked it or whatnot, but it wasn't you guys were trying to cover anything up. It was just you didn't know what to show, what not to show.
And and then when you ended up with the footage, that was the best.
Yeah, that was what we had. Yeah. So like going off of my side of what was going on that weekend, like the first sit that I ever went on was with Dice in the morning, and it was like the most unreal sit ever. We saw like what?
Yeah, it was like probably the best sit I've had. We saw
and that was my first sit of my life, and I was like, this is cool. Like watch Dice like shoot at a doe, but the doe ducked. It ended up being a spike, whatever. So that sit's over. That night I ended up going out with Justin, and this is my second sit ever. And my buddy Justin's been hunting for I don't know 5-6 years with the bow, and this doe comes in.
Still a 20-year-old dude. He's not an experienced hunter.
Yeah, he's a 21-year-old dude, 22-year-old dude. Yeah, he's not a super experienced hunter, but
he's pretty.
But he way more experienced than us.
Yeah, he taught me a lot.
Yeah. So what happened was this doe comes out, and he's got one of those the thumb releases, and it's in his pocket. And he's digging it out. This doe's barely like there's a tree like right here, and this doe's barely still in range.
I think he stopped it.
Yeah, he stopped it before he had his release. Yeah, he stops it before he has the release, pulls back, lines it up, shoots, and it spines the doe. Dropped right there. He ended up putting another arrow in it from the stand, and that was pretty much it. We walked up to it, and it was gruesome, but it was he was so distraught, like he felt so bad. And obviously Justin watches a lot of hunting videos too, and we like kind of were like, what do we do? Like, do we show a spine? Like usually people don't show spines on like hunting shows.
Yeah.
So like,
but the thing is, we're not also a hunting show.
Yeah,
we're a lot more.
Like we
raw.
should have been more honest about it, and I know that now.
I show myself not wearing a tree harness, which is probably the dumbest thing on the internet. But it's just like I've grown up not doing that, and I definitely need to get myself a harness. But like we only have one harness, so like it's just. So
we were
different. Yeah,
we were pretty bent out of shape about that.
What do you do? Shut up, Dice. Continue.
I think that's just one of those things. Like if you're hunting, you should have a tree harness.
Yes, everybody tells me this. I know. I need to get one. Thank you.
So after this kill, like Justin and I were both like pretty like kind of beat up about it. Like we felt real bad. Like we just watched a pretty gruesome kill, and like the best way we knew how to cope with that, we didn't want to like show all that on video. So the best way we knew how to cope with that was to like kind of lie about it, like tell a white lie and how it died. But the deer was spined. We put another arrow in it, and I guess that was that. Yeah. I mean, it was just something that I don't.
It happens in hunting. It happens. They just didn't know how to show it correctly,
and that's kind of the reality of it. Is you got to realize as a hunter, like what you're doing, you're taking the life of another animal.
Yeah.
And you should always have that remorse, and I think that kind of just puts into perspective just everything.
And the really big buzzkill too is when we got down from the stand and he was like checking his bow. He realized that his sight was actually loose on there. The Allen keys got loosened up somehow. I don't know if it was in the car or something, but he could have easily had like that lined up shot perfect, but his sight was just loose and he didn't see that.
Yeah. So it's stuff like that happens.
Stuff like that
It's
happens.
just-
I mean, it's just
and we're sorry that some of you guys, threw some hate at us on the previous video. We talked about previous videos sometimes on this podcast. If you guys want to check those out, it's AP Bassin on YouTube.
Yep.
But what it was a shot that wasn't the greatest. Spine deer. Kind of just showed that the deer was dead. Didn't show that we had to put a second arrow into it. And that's that. But coming clean, telling you guys exactly what happened. And
You know what else we got a lot of hate on
What
that
was it?
week was
Or grunting.
for the grunting.
Grunting too
and,
early.
And I'll address this. So there was one instance early on in the sit. Mav and I saw a really nice deer coming in at low light, and he kind of was coming towards us and kind of turned and started working the other way and was kind of far away. And at that point, I kind of figured, what the hell? Why not just give it a little toot and see if he'll respond? And
Little toot.
a grunt isn't. There's aggressive calls and then there's just like calls. So a grunt's just a communication call. So like a deer's not gonna get scared by that, or at least this is what I think. Again, everyone can kind of have
everyone
their
has
own.
their opinions.
So I kind of look at that as just a communication, and bucks are grouped up in bachelor groups at that time, and
The thing is, the deer's walking away.
Yeah,
If
it
you
can't
shoot
hurt.
a grunt, it can't hurt other than maybe bring that deer
Right.
back in. Is a grunt going to work better in September than November during the rut? No. But, that's their choice. They can, everybody on the internet doesn't always know everything.
Right.
You got to take some comments with a grain of salt. But
Grunt, rattle, dolphin noise, all
whatever,
could,
all
could
work.
bring them in,
But what we learned from that is, next time we're going to show exactly what happens always when it comes to our videos. We never try and stage anything. We were talking about this last night. We usually do one take when it comes to everything.
Yeah,
Like, we don't even redo talking points. Like,
No, it's
and
raw.
It's super raw what we do. So when you do it super raw, some stuff like that's going to happen. But
Yep.
this has been a super fun podcast. I think we should probably talk about one more thing.
One more thing. I got one more thing. Do you have something on your mind, or can I bring this one up?
I'll let you bring that up, and then maybe I'll talk about what's on my mind.
Everybody's dying to know about the tire. What happened with the tire? Why can't we figure out how to unlock a spare tire?
Oh,
Eric?
yeah, dude. We got so much hate on that.
I think we got flamed for that more than we did for the grunting.
Yes.
People are like, dude, just use your ignition key. You got to use the ignition key to open up the...
God, I wish it was so... so whoever was posting the hate comments about the tire, here's the deal with the tire. Look up F-150 2016 or 2000. I think when did the problem start? 2014 or 15 or something like that?
It was the 2015 and 2016. I think it was like a couple years where it was just like...
Ford decided that they weren't going to use the ignition key. On my 2013 F-150, the ignition key works for the lock. There's not a lock on there. What there is now is a special key that you have to put on the end of your...
It's like a lug. It's a lug that's a lock.
Yeah,
put
it's
it
a-
on the end of your like jack,
Yeah,
right?
On the end, no, not on the end of your jack. On the end of your... what do you call that?
Like a wrench. It's like a...
Yeah, whatever you get
Yeah,
to
yeah.
use the jack.
the
Yeah,
thing
that's what
that
I mean.
lowers
The
and-
wrench.
Yeah, you put a key on the end of that jack that fits into a slot that goes down into this tube that unlocks the spare tire thing.
Except the awesome thing about this was that the key lug, we'll call it the key lug, that attaches to the top, was not included with the truck.
Yeah, and they had a problem where like 50% of the trucks they actually put on the market didn't have that key.
Yeah.
Like if you look online and look up Ford forums, there's like multiple hundreds, thousands of people that had the same problem.
Yeah.
When they broke down, either AAA or they had to call Ford and have a key specifically made for that truck. Like it was a complete mess. They don't do this anymore. And
So-
that's why we couldn't get the tire.
So us being as prepared as we are, we had bolt cutters in the back of the car, and we ended up just cutting the cable, dropping the spare tire, and somehow made it out of there at like 3 a.m.
Yeah, so it wasn't that I've had so many flat tires, I've changed so many tires, and it wasn't that I didn't know how to take the tire off or have a key. It was that we didn't have the correct tool from Ford to loosen the stuff. Luckily, we had a bolt cutters, or else when the cop showed up, he literally wanted us to tow the whole rig at 2 a.m. on a Sunday. That would have been like $1,000, and I was just like,
We were all just boiling at
I
this
was
point.
like, give me a second here to
hard
change
to-
my tire, you know?
Hard to not get upset, but
Comments are always fun to kind of see and enjoy. I mean, the problem was we didn't really show that aspect, so they have
Yeah.
every right to say you guys are a bunch of idiots. You don't even know how to change a
100%.
tire, you know. So, no, that was a good topic. I feel like in this in this podcast we battled hate comments, talked about a little bit about Kaylee Joyce and Sam's love life and about hunting.
perfect.
Yeah.
hopefully you guys enjoyed this podcast. The cabin is always a place where you get to unwind here on a Sunday morning, drink some coffee, and enjoy our lives with you guys.
Oh, yeah.
So remember, check us out, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, and of course on YouTube. We're going to upload some more, though, to those other sources like Mav said. And we might even start shorting these podcasts off on AP Bassin because, some people love them, some people don't like them. But on the podcasting platforms, everybody loves them. So thank you guys again. Mav, anything else to say?
I got nothing. Thank you guys for tuning in, and stay tuned. You won't be pissed.